What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds, talking authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. This is your Friday afternoon breaking news show, and we have a big Antony interview to discuss. Lots of quotes coming out from this that would either make people laugh, cry, or just feel very, very weird. There's some very, very interesting quotes on that, so I'm definitely eager to hear your opinions on that interview. Also, we're going to talk about loads of transfer bits. There's stuff about Sofyan Amrabat. There's stuff about an Atletico Madrid centre-back who's a free agent. Stuff coming out from Luckhurst about how many more signings we're going to make. And if we've got some time towards the end, as it is Friday, we will do a Q&A. So, yeah, any kind of opinions or topics that we may have missed, then obviously you guys can jump in on that. Shreyas, welcome. How are we doing?
Yeah, doing fairly well. How are you doing?
Fantastic, because I've got a cold Capri Sun in my hand and I've had a coffee and I've eaten, so I'm all good. Now, I'm going to set a challenge to kick things off, okay? And it's related to
Okay.
Antony. So, not more of a challenge, more so of just your opinion, I suppose. Now, if you could recoup the money that we had spent on Antony, so what was it, 85 million, 90 million?
Yeah.
What would you spend that money on right now? If we could just had a magic wand and it was like, right, you get the Antony money back, but he goes, where would you personally reinvest that money right now? On what players?
I would invest it on Zubimendi as a CDM, and I would invest it on if we had 85 million, I would go João Neves. Scratch Zubimendi. I would go João Neves
Ah,
in midfield, and
but
yeah,
João
and I would go
Neves has
Antonio.
already moved, hasn't he? It's official
If
now.
we had the money earlier in this window.
No, I'm saying like if we
Yeah.
sold Antony right now
Oh, right
for
now.
85
Okay.
million, where would you spend
Yeah.
that money?
Okay. I got it. Okay. Then it would be Zubimendi and Antonio Silva.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I think we need a midfield. I definitely need a midfielder and a decent one at that, and we definitely need a decent centre back as he's going to be on Antony. Now, the first quote I've plucked out of this interview, Shreyas, and for good reason. I believe this is the most standout one, and this is going straight directly from the horse's mouth. Okay, so he got asked about kind of his output and how he needs to improve and things like this. And he says, I definitely need more goal participations and to score more goals. It's something I demand from myself. And in this bit, rest assured, you'll hear the name Antony in relation to goals and assists. Now, that kind of puts a mark on himself, doesn't it? Is there any chance at all we could see a redemption arc from Antony Shreyas?
I really don't see it happening. Personally, I really don't see it happening. I mean, I hope it happens. Genuinely, I really hope that he's able to turn it around and actually come up with the goods this season. I really hope it works out for him as well because he invested quite a bit in him. But considering the way he plays and considering how one-dimensional he is and how everyone actually knows how one-dimensional he is, I just don't see it working out. Uh, Work rate wise and when it comes to covering ground, I don't have any question markers on Antony. But when it comes to having that smartness when you're moving forward with the ball, having that killer instinct when you're in the box and you just need to make that split second decision, that's not an area where he excels. But if he can come up with it, I would be the one of the most happy people. But I just don't see it happening. I genuinely
Yeah.
don't. I think Ahmad right now is on at a much different level, and I would say I would put him ahead of him in the pecking order. Apart from that as well, Garnacho can do just as good as a job actually playing on from that right hand side. You've also got the option to actually use Mount when he's fit on that right hand side to have that creative playmaker, sort of profile working on from the right hand side. So you have got options. And worst comes to worst, Xerxes can actually function as a right winger too if you want him to actually play out wide. So it's going to be very tough because Sancho is going to be available for us this season. I don't see him actually moving to any other club. So it will be a very hard journey for him this season if he actually sees himself being a starter on that right wing position and everything along with that. It's just going to be very, very hard.
I would argue Antony coming back and turning into the £80 million winger it would be a bigger return than Roman Reigns at SummerSlam.
Oh
would
yeah,
be
yeah.
a bigger return than Trump when he got shot and just came back. Like it would be the biggest thing in the world if he came
Ever,
back, because
ever in history.
yeah, I don't think anyone expects it from him. I think the majority of United fans, and this is not just me just saying it, I think the majority have written him off, and they're just like, yeah, look,
Oh yeah, they have genuine.
if an offer
I
came
think
in right now, 25, 30 million,
of
they'd
course,
take it.
anyone would take right now. Anyone would take it for him. 25 to 30 million. Anyone would take it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's crazy when you think we paid quadruple that for him. It's absolutely nuts.
Just 2 seasons ago. Just two
Yeah.
seasons ago.
But he does go on to say, I'm someone who demands a lot from myself. I was obviously not satisfied with my season, but a lot happened over the year in my personal life. Like it or not, everything I went through had an effect on the pitch. It's a new season. I've got a strong mentality and I'm focused on what I want. I know that this season will be totally different. Like you said, though, the saturation in the winger department at the minute, Rashford, Garnacho, Ahmad, Xerxes, Mount, Bruno can all play in these kind of attacking positions. That is a big mountain to climb. Like, it's different in it if you've not got as many in front of you. But with Ahmad's form, especially, I can't see any way of him getting in. Do you think he'll just play cup games or?
Look, the thing is, even when he wasn't really performing that well last year as well, and Ahmad was being given minutes in the last
Yeah.
5 to 6 games of the season, he still got 20 to 30 minutes every game in the dying moments. So he used to come on. He used to get, and Ten Hag loves to make substitutions, especially in the attacking side. You can see him making use of. I still remember when we had that midfield of Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno. He used to put Fred. He used to put McTominay and Weghorst every single game around that 70, 75th mark. So the thing is, Ten Hag will make changes. And when it comes to the attacking front as well, maybe Antony is, supposedly if he gets minutes like 20 to 25 minutes every single game as that backup or as that substitution choice, and if he can impress in that 20 in those 20 to 25 minutes, maybe it can happen. Because once again, he is one of Ten Hag's players. He is one of Ten Hag's most wanted players as well when Ten Hag actually came to United. So there's always there is always a chance for him to actually make it back into the team, whether it would be as a starter, whether it would be as someone who can be, a prominent figure in that attacking line is something that is highly questionable. Like with, like you mentioned, the saturation that we've already got in those departments. You've got players like Sancho, who I would say, if I have to compare it to Antony, are more technically skilled than him. Application is something different, but when you just ask technical, just the technical aspect of the game, Sancho is much more ahead of Antony when it comes to that aspect as a winger. So it's going to be very difficult. And this season, I don't know how Ahmad would actually be stopped on that right wing position. If he's given the minutes in the first 5 to 6 games of the season, I see him running away with that position on that right hand side.
Yeah, I'm just reading the comments on the side whilst listening to that, and I knew as soon as we start speaking about Antony, some of the comments are going to be absolutely hilarious. Sean's just put, rest assured you'll hear the name Antony in relation to cutting in, going backwards, passing backwards, beating the same player twice, and then blazing it over the bar. Oh, God. Yeah, I hope we don't see that player again, because whichever way you look at it, even from if you like him as a player, you want him to do well, or from a financial perspective, you want him to do well because you can recoup some of that shitload of money that you basically splashed on him. Whichever way, a player doing well is only beneficial to the club. So he's going to get minutes regardless of what people think, because you just simply cannot have an £85 million player sat on the bench. It's just, unjustified, in my opinion. However, Shreyas, there is a human element to this, because there's a lot of shit that went on during the season and we don't really know the specifics, but he touched on this. He said, everything I went through was very difficult for me and all of my family. I've learned from it all. I've grown and matured. I believed I learned a lot from adversity. I learned from everything I go through and learned that everything is possible when you persist in achieving what you want. Do you think we should take this into account when criticising him? Because sometimes maybe we do overdo it a little bit.
Of course, look, players also have a life outside of football, and when things become as turbulent as as they got for Antony at the start of the season last year, it does take a toll on any player, I would say. uh, and we've seen it happen to other players in the squad as well, who struggled with things when it comes to off the pitch. And it does take time for people to recover from it, and at the end of the day, they are human beings too. So to a certain point, I do understand as to it might have taken a toll when it comes to his application on the pitch and the way he performs on the pitch.
He
But the
doesn't help
thing is,
himself though, does he? In his mannerisms and stuff.
exactly, like the way he came on in that Arsenal game. So I mean, he doesn't really do himself much favor. And when you're at Manchester United, considering the price tag that he's actually had on his profile as well, it doesn't make it easy. He's going to be a target for any club or any football pundit out there that Antony is not working. He scored one goal throughout the season in the Premier League. Hasn't worked out. United flashed 85 million on this player itself, and it just becomes the same story over and over again. And it does become tough for the player once you're not performing as well, and then you get dropped from the team, and you've got players who are actually taking over your position and doing quite well. When you speak about Garnacho, when you speak about Ahmad, it does make it much tougher on the player as well. So one thing is he still has the opportunity to actually make his name in this team. We've seen players come back from the dead at United all the time. Like before last season, McTominay was one of the players who everyone wanted to actually just leave the club. Same goes for Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
Now, McTominay, people are saying if not for the right price, keep him because he can actually deliver something for us. Maguire as well, people are saying as a backup option doesn't really sound as bad. But prior to that season, everyone wanted these two players out. So look, there's always a chance for any player to come back. But the thing is, the situation for him is much tougher because there is a lot of competition in that winger position.
It'd be interesting to see the pecking order this season of
Exactly.
where wingers are where, and that's what I want to ask you. And we can do it. Make a clip of it, okay? So, in your opinion, when we talk about wingers at the club, pure wingers, where do each rank for you in terms of priority? So let's start with Rashford.
Third.
Garnacho.
First.
Ahmad.
Second.
Antony.
Not on the list.
Pellistri.
Fifth.
Sancho.
Fourth.
Okay, and then we of course have other options there. Would you swap any of them out? Obviously, Bruno, Mount, Xerxes could probably play out there. As wingers, I mean, where would you put them?
I would love to put Mount actually in that fourth slot as a winger because I think the energy that he has and the way he his mobility on the wings as well, and the way he's able to recover the ball as well in the in the final third, he can actually be quite useful. And being an attacking midfielder, I think he can actually help out a lot while creating chances for Højlund or even Xerxes, whoever is starting up top.
Well, we certainly do have a lot of options there, don't we? And I think each player offers something different. I think that is actually the big difference to Antony. They offer something different. They can be versatile in the game. Like Sancho can move over to the left. You can play Rashford as a striker. You can go for them all. Whereas Antony, it's like just the right hand side, and you know what he's going to do, and he's very predictable because of how one-footed he is. Now he speaks about on using his right foot because it was a question that was always going to get asked. He said, "Yes, they will see more. It's there written on paper in my objectives. More work on the right foot. Score more goals and assist. I'll show you these notes one day and you'll see the results this season." Does that to you not sound a bit like schoolboyish in the way he's answering it? Like, listen, I've written it down on paper. I'll show you the notes one day. You'll see the results this season. It's like,
look, after doing all this, if it doesn't turn up,
exactly. You put in way more pressure on yourself because you know Lad Bible and things like this. When if he gets 1 goal and 2 assists this season, them notes are going to be pulled right back up, and it's going to be like, "I'll show you." Were these the notes where it says 0 goals and 0 assists? You can already see it in the firing line, can't you? So he's making it like
exactly. And look, it's already going to be tough for him because he's not the starting choice right now. Like moving into next season up against Fulham, it's going to be with availability, of course. Garnacho, Xerxes, and Ahmad starting on the right hand side. It's not going to be Antony. I would even say it's not going to be Rashford at the moment because Garnacho and Ahmad deserve that starting spot at least for now. And competition for places is definitely there. But look, if he gets minutes, like I'm quite sure that he will get minutes against City
Yes.
in the Community Shield. If he
Yeah,
misplaces a pass in that game, if he cuts in, goes in for a strike, and it goes into the orbit, it's just going to put more and more pressure on him every single week. So I would say, good with, having a positive attitude that, you want to turn things around for yourself. You want to be a starter, and, the hunger is there to actually become a much better version of the player that we actually wanted to get in from Ajax. But this is this is not the way to do it, especially right now when there is already a big panic surrounding the club and the fan base regarding the transfer window. There is already a big panic regarding the availability of players because it's preseason and we've lost 4 to 5 players already and quite key players as well. So it just doesn't fit in the right way, and he's just adding to the entire drama that is already present at the
yeah.
club right now.
It's just adding fuel to the fire, and it like some things just aren't realistic. I would love to be the announcer at Old Trafford introducing the players, but everyone would love to be something, but sometimes it's just not achievable. I'd love him to turn it around. I hope he does, but I just think I would argue he's the most one-footed player ever in the history of football. Can you think of any? Obviously, the comparisons was always Iron Robin and blah blah blah, but at least Iron Robin, if he did cut in and shoot, he'd score quite a lot, or he'd get a put across in, or Iron Robin was one of the top wingers of his time, one of the greatest wingers of Bayern
Yeah.
Munich. It's not even a comparison in that sense. He is the most one-footed player in it. I was trying to think before of players who are currently playing at the minute. I can't think of any.
There's actually not. There's
As
actually no
adamant.
one who is as yeah. Because at least other players, you can still see it. They at least pass the ball around with their right foot, or at least in certain decisions they actually use the right foot. But Antony just doesn't use it at all. Like even while dribbling, I can just see him kicking the ball with his left foot and just running. That's how one-dimensional he actually is.
I remember that clip from. Do you remember Reading, where he gets it in the corner
Yeah.
and he's just doing that
Oh,
with his
yeah,
foot,
yeah,
and he gets
yeah.
tackled, and you're like, oh fucking hell, Jesus Christ! Like, and that's why this is I think a valuable lesson in why highlights never dictate how a player is in games. Because if you look at Antony's highlights at Ajax before he joined Man United, they were crazy. They were like, he was skinning people left, right, centre. Like, defenders couldn't get near him. And then he comes to United, and it's just no way near replicated. So, kids, if you are growing up and you're relying, you look at highlights, and you think that's the player they're going to be. I'm sure you could pull up highlight reels of Weghorst, and he'd look fantastic. I did it. I literally did it when we signed Weghorst. I got clips from Wolfsburg. I got clips from
Yeah,
other places. He was at from Besiktas. I think he was at in Turkey. And I
yeah.
was like, this is what he can offer. This is what you're going to do. He's a workhorse. And it's Weghorst. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Same thing with Sabitzer. I did a similar thing. So, anyway. Right, now the last quote, we're going to move on. And then I'll dive into the comments, people, because I know there is a lot of you. So, we'll run through them in a minute and take the time. So he says, a lot happened last season, and this in relation to the fullback, which we always joke about. I played fullback and was a little uneasy about it, but that was because with the team losing or drawing, you want to be in the attack to turn things around and help the team. Being moved into defence bothered me a bit. You feel annoyed in the moment during the game, but afterwards it's all fine. I have a tremendous affection for Eric, and he has a lot of affection for me. He's a great coach, and he knows he can rely upon me. I was laughing at Shreyas. He might have to, he might have to fill in there on the weekend because we haven't got any left backs, have we?
Exactly. He probably will have to actually do it again. But it's a big question mark as to, who is even fit right now in our defensive line
Yeah.
apart from Onana.
Well, there's 3 senior players that is what they're saying, isn't it? But look, me and Sam did the preview the other day. I haven't even spoken to you really on a live about the game. Who do you think would be considered for that? Just before we go to the comments.
Lisandro would be considered definitely. Apart from that, Dallo would be considered, of course.
Yeah.
But apart from that, other 2 positions, you've
Evans
not.
and Amas?
It's got yeah, Evans and Amas or Murray maybe
It's
apart
crazy, that,
instead
isn't
of
it?
Amas. Because that's the only options that you actually got. Apart from them, every person is injured. And in hindsight, we did crazy business selling Kambala for 10 million.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a couple
Yeah.
of people were like, they didn't think, the plans have just gone to shit, haven't they? They had a plan. they followed it, and sometimes that's. I think it was Mike Tyson famously said, "You can always have a plan until you get punched in the face, and then your plan changes." And we have well and truly been punched in the face with an injury with Lenny Yoro and injuries in the rest of the squad. So we're gonna have to learn to adapt again at the start of the season. But I think I've spoken that much about injuries. I just can't. I can't delve into it too much because it just frustrates the life out of me. Now, we'll go to the comments because there is shitloads of them. One, you've got a comparison made, Shreyas. I don't know if you agree with this. Shreyas looks a bit like Paqueta. What do you make of that? No? Okay,
No.
fair enough.
No.
McMillan saying, I don't see Zubimendi working next to Mainu. I think physical profile would be a concern for me personally, but I think on the ball, I think they're both fantastic.
Yeah.
Sorry, scroll down through the comments. Antony, for me, very doubtful, but I still have that hope he has to be a bunch player, though. I'm well ahead of him. Richard saying, hello, guys. I'm pissed. Okay. It's 12:30, Richard, but it is Friday, so I'll let you off. Mark Palmer, I want Antony gone. Are we still in for Fizz from Corrie? I think so. I think talks are advancing on that. There's a few journalists tweeting some... What's the word when they put something out, but it's not like a dead giveaway? Like a cold kind of tweet. There's a word.
Neil Custard.
No, he just chats shit. He don't put anything out there. This is a journalist, Frederick Friedfield. I think it's from Norway or Denmark. He put some out in relation to Sanderberg. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But yeah, it seems like released in talks with his camp at the minute. So Fizz from Corrie could be coming to United. I don't know if you get that reference, Shreyas. I doubt it. It's a very niche. Yeah. So in the UK, we have TV shows called soaps. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
So it's like local drama kind of, you know.
Okay.
And Fizz is... I'll show you after the show anyway. I'll send it in WhatsApp. TTM says, using excuses and taking responsibility at the same time. Bullshit statements. I agree. Antony will continue to flop. Maybe he steals Garnacho's minutes. I hope not. I certainly hope not.
Yeah.
If Antony accepts the reserve orange peeler position, then he's welcome to stay. Yeah. Antony wants to stay. He needs to take a massive wage cut. No one's happy about this Antony thing at all. I can just tell by the vibe in the chat. I dropped some huge aura in the bog this morning. What flavour Capri Sun is that, Nick? Ultimate dry mouth tackle. It is blackcurrant, I think. Blackcurrant. But I've got tropical ones in the fridge. Maybe I should get sponsored by Capri Suns because I have them all the time. But yeah, Capri Sun, if you want to sponsor Real Reds Talk, then I can do a good job of that. We don't have a pure winger, Sean says. Would you agree with that, Shreyas?
A pure winger, we have.
It depends on like a traditional winger, like someone who's... Palistri's a little bit of a traditional winger, like he'll beat a man and he'll put a cross into the box.
Yeah, beat a man, then take the ball wide and then put the ball back into the box. So
like
we have got those profiles, but the starting ones are not those profiles. Ahmad actually does that quite a bit now. You know, he likes to, stretch the play out, stretch defenders out, beat a man and then make his moves. So Ahmad does possess that quality. Garnacho, sometimes he does it, but most of the times he looks to play more centrally. Yeah, same goes with Rashford as well.
Yeah. Tiger UK, we need to buy flying wingers that graft and can get in behind and can play a killer cross. Yeah, I agree, but we have got quite a few different profiles of wingers, so we've got options at least. To be fair to Antony, got to respect his self-confidence in putting these things out there, leaving himself wide open for criticism. Richard says, I have to go, but thanks, Nick and Shreyas. Thanks, everyone. Stay safe. Ashley Young was pretty one-footed. He was, yeah. That's a great example, Sean. But at least Ashley Young put crosses into the box. Even though he wasn't...
Yeah.
When he did cut in, he'd curl it into the box 9 times out of 10. That's the difference. Chivy saying, check out Victor Lindelof's highlights. You'd be amazed. If money wasn't a problem, who would be your centre defensive midfield choice? Good question, Mira.
Oh, you go first.
If money wasn't a problem, centre defensive midfield. It depends.
And you can't choose De Jong.
I don't know if it's realistic targets though, or
not De Jong.
Yeah, no, not De Jong. I'd have De Jong more as an 8, but we've got Mainu, so I'm not too fussed about that position. As a 6 right now, that's tough because the market for defensive midfielders ain't fantastic at the moment. I think it just have to be Awate. I think it would. The one who's available right now, I think it'd have to be. I can't think of one better opportunity on the market who would suit us more. The way we play, how aggressive we are, the energy that we need in there. Who's going to cover a lot of ground? Uate's perfect for it. I mean, if you could wind the clock back and get an N'Golo Kante from 3 years ago, that'd be a perfect option for me. I'd probably even bring N'Golo. If you get N'Golo Kante on loan right now, and you not have to play Casemiro there, I'd fucking do it because I just don't want to see Casemiro.
He is more mobile. He's still quite mobile.
Yeah, you saw him for France in the Euros.
Yeah.
What about you, Shreyas?
Yeah. If he hadn't moved to Bayern, I would have gone for Palhinha first. He would have been my dream choice in that midfield because I think he would be the perfect partner for Menu because with his physicality, the way he gets stuck in, the way he's able to maintain his line, I think Menu, he would have perfectly complemented Menu while maintaining that physicality and tallness in the midfield as well.
Sorry, I wasn't listening, but I saw some comments in the corner. I was laughing my head off. I think he would be top signing Palhinha. I think with the money they got him for as well, like 40 million quid. Oh my god, that's such a steal. And that's with the kind of money we were offering for players. I mean, it fits right into the kind of that category. I mean, someone put in the chat yesterday, he's 29 years old, and I was like, but Sanderberg's 26. So it's a couple of years in it. Like I like Palhinha personally. I think he was super underrated in the league and a mega important player for Fulham. Sean saying, I saw video footage of Fizz looting Greggs. Do you know what Greggs is, Shreyas?
No,
you don't know what Greggs is?
No.
Wow. This is breaking news in itself. Anyone just tuning in, Shreyas does not know what Greggs is. Do you want to hazard a guess what Greggs is?
Is it a store?
It's a food place, in the UK.
Okay.
Any idea what they sell?
Sandwiches?
So it's like, they do sell sandwiches, but it's not. So it's more like pastries, basically.
Okay.
So, but it's like, do you know what a pasty is?
Yeah.
So it's like a pasta. It's like a chicken bake pasta, and they do steak bakes, they do sausage rolls, like chicken flatbreads and things like that. Very, very popular in the UK. Everyone fucking loves Greggs. So there's some very niche UK references in the chat, and I'm just thinking you probably sat there going, what the fuck is Fizz? What is Greggs? What is all? You're going to learn a whole new world, mate. I promise you. Chivy said Lingard once said Fizz was his first crush as a kid. Jesus Christ. It must have a specific type anyway. Gerald...
Do you remember when we won the game against City in the FA Cup final? And Kobe's picture as a kid got released where he was sitting like this. And the caption said that Rodri didn't know that this guy was going to end his unbeaten streak in the FA.
Yeah. And he's got his shades on. That's such a good picture. That.
Yeah.
And he's got the shirt that I've got, the AIG one, from 2007, 2008 season.
Yeah.
Love that picture, man. Gerard Almeida saying we can just support our players even if we don't like them. Yeah, I think me and Shreyas are both behind that. We both want our players to succeed and we want them to do well. But we're also very realistic, and we've watched Antony for 2 years, week in, week out, every single game. So we know, and you guys know as well.
To be fair, both of us want that Casemiro actually turns it around and becomes, the Casemiro, the level he can actually achieve. But we just know that, it's not possible now. It's not going to happen.
No, it doesn't seem like it's very unlikely. Dan Fenton saying Uate would be great, but Palhinha would have been great, as he's obviously already played in the Premier League. You're missing out, Shreyas, big time. Greggs is the best, says Dan. Yeah, honestly, Greggs is so good. Macmillan, in South Africa, it's called a pie. UK call it a pastry. But a pie is like, a pie's a pie. How can you call a pie a pastry? A pie is like a circle. You'd call that a pie, right? Circle.
Yeah.
Filling in the middle. A pie and a pastry are different. Yeah, right. This is going to turn into a debate in itself in the comments. I could already see it fusing and kicking off. It's like people call balms and fucking Sam, straight away, pie has a crust and a top. I have to agree. I'm sorry, Macmillan, you may be in the minority here. I could never ever go to Greggs and call it a chicken pie because they wouldn't give me anything because they don't sell chicken pies. They sell chicken pasties. But yeah, you're going to be fighting your own war there, mate. So I'll leave you to that whilst we talk about some transfers. Now, Shreyas, I'm sure you saw the news last night. Fabrizio Romano broke some news around Todibo, which I thought was very interesting. Not going to Juventus now because they was umming and ahhing. West Ham jump in, €40 million. Obviously a former United target. Thoughts on that? Quite a coup for West Ham, isn't it?
West Ham are having quite a window, to be very honest. They've signed Fulkrug, gotten Somerville, they've gotten Guido Rodriguez on a free deal, and now they're going in for Todibo as well, and they've got a manager change, so you can expect a lot from West Ham next season because they've already got the likes of Paqueta in, they've already got Kudus, Jared Bowen, so they've got some very, I would say,
Might
interesting
get
players.
Wan-Bissaka
Edson
as
Alvarez
well.
in midfield. Maybe Wan-Bissaka adds to their list as well. But they're turning out to be quite a good side. Like moving into next season, I would put them ahead of Brighton when it comes to the kind of players that they've gotten. Um they've got a very good setup, and I think Fulkrug is the one that actually excites me the most when it comes to West
He
Ham
was
because
good in the Euros, where
oof, he is your traditional number 9.
proper,
Someone
yeah.
just
You talk about traditional
yeah,
wingers before. He's a proper. Like, you put him back in his 60s,
exactly,
and he'd fit in. Like he's a serious out and out, a physical, really
exactly.
good finisher, technician. Yeah, I like him. I'm a big fan.
Knows his way around the box as well. Very good with crosses. Very good with actually making first time touches and shots. So and then you've got players out wide like Kudus and Paqueta who are very creative, and now you've got the traditional number 9 as well. So they actually excite me a lot going into next season. And West Ham, since there is a manager change as well, David Moyes is gone, anything can happen. They can genuinely, maybe they end up crashing into the top 6 once again. Maybe, they finish up around that 9th or 10th position once again. But it is quite exciting. And now with Todibo actually entering into that mix as well, that backline, I think Todibo is going to be a very good signing, no matter which clubs he actually goes to. I think he's going to be a very good signing. And, perhaps West Ham buy him. He has a couple good seasons, ends up moving to United in a couple of years. But it's a good move for him as well because he'll be able to see what the intensity of the Premier League actually looks like. Coming up against the likes of the Big Six, coming up against the likes of the newly promoted teams in Leicester and these sort of clubs as well. So it's going to be quite interesting. And they may in West Ham's defense as well, they're making quite smart moves. Todibo is supposed to be the next big thing in that defensive line. They're hijacking a deal from Juventus to actually get him in. Fulkrug is, I would say, not as renowned, but people who actually see him know that he knows how to get the job done. People who have actually seen him play for Dortmund and the German squad as well. And apart from that, they've got some killers on the out wide in Kudus and Paqueta, and now Somerville coming in as well. So they're a good side, and they're having a better window than us.
I think they're stealing the window in general, to be honest. I think they've probably done the best business in the league, which is always going to make it more competitive and more interesting in itself. Now, switching gears a little bit, I want to go back to United in terms of transfer news. Sofyan Amrabat, according to Demartio, has had offers from Fenerbahce and Galatasaray. However, neither are currently sufficient for Fiorentina in terms of price. What should United do in this situation? I think you've always been an advocate for him to join, or for us to make him as a signing, but it just seems like that deal's lingering at the moment, doesn't it?
I think the holdup is just the fact that maybe we can't get. I think they're treating Amrabat as a safety signing. Like if nothing works out, if we don't get Ugarte or anyone else, then they go in for Amrabat for the price that is being mentioned around 15 or 16 million. Because if they actually treated Amrabat as a first or second priority, they would have done it by now quite easily. But I think they want to sign players like Ugarte or whoever is being mentioned. I think they're higher in the list in comparison to Amrabat. I think that's the only holdup. Personally, I would go in for him because at least before that Fulham game, we'll have a 6 who can prove to be a bit more mobile than Casemiro. Because if we don't sign him by then, it's not going to be a good start for the season. It's going to be very slow. It's going to be very frustrating as well because it's basically copy paste from last season. It's going to be Casemiro, Menu, and Bruno once again in that midfield, and it's going to be at least for some time Lissandro, and then you've got Evans or Maguire or Lindelof actually pairing up, aside him, and then you've got Dallo and no fit left back, no fit natural left back once again. So I hope we get Amrabat in soon. I hope because I think he'll be a safer bet than other players who are actually being mentioned around. I think rather than Sanderberg, I would rather go in for Amrabat because I think he'll be able to offer much more than what he would be offering.
Yeah, and something's come out from United actually. Well, it's being briefed by Samuel Luckhurst, but he has obviously ties within the club. And they're saying United want to make at least 3 more signings in the final 3 weeks of the summer transfer window. Who do you think that could be?
Ligt, Mazraoui, and
Amrabat.
I'm not as hopeful. Yeah, maybe Amrabat is the one, or maybe they actually end up getting Ugarte over the line. But I think De Ligt and Mazraoui are a given at least right now, because
don't know,
I don't see us being. What other centre back are we even linked to now?
That I agree with. I said that to Samuel there. I thought there is no other links currently that I've seen or that we've
Exactly.
both seen. That I get. But I just don't know. It just seems like Bayern are just not gonna fucking cave to demands. But then you have the Jonathan Tah situation, so it could speed up very quickly. It could. I was adamant at the start of this week that the Ligt and Mazraoui deal will be done. Like no issues whatsoever. I think Romano was kind of saying a similar thing. But it just seems to be stumbling at the minute. And I think the longer you leave it, the more pressure there is.
I think that United will just not overpay. If what they actually understand as a overpaying situation, I don't think that they're going to go for it. Because if they were ready to actually overpay, they would have done it by now. It's not a problem with the player. It's not a problem with the wages or anything. De Ligt already agreed personal terms a month ago. Mazraoui even accepted personal terms a couple of weeks ago. The only problem is with Bayern. That's the only problem that there is to the deal. Same goes for Ugarte as well. The only problem that there is in that deal is with the club, not with the player. The players are all eager to even take pay cuts and actually make the move to United. They're quite, I would say, they find the project quite appealing.
Yeah. They're very willing.
So,
and the agents have said that as well. And Bayern said to them, though, if a decent offer comes in, we appreciate that you can go because you're not really part of our plans going forward. So when offers come in, like we've offered, I don't know what it is, let's say it's close to 40 million or just like 5 or 10 million less, there should be a compromise. The compromise should have been made fucking weeks
exactly. And in fairness to the player as well, De Ligt has pretty much come out publicly and said, I'm never going to play for Bayern Munich again. I'm not going to play. I want to move. That's the max a player can actually do to force a move. Same goes for Mazraoui as well. And Ugarte as well has pretty much said that he wants to move from PSG. He doesn't want to stay at the club. He wants to move away. He wants a fresh start. So the players are doing their part when it comes to, accelerating these deals. I think it's just narrowing it down to the money. I'm at least now I think that money is not a problem for United right now, because if money was a problem, we wouldn't have been able to spend 60 to 70 million for Lenny Euro. We wouldn't have been able to spend 30 to 40 for Xerxes. I think United do have the money. The only thing is they don't want to overpay. So at least right now, the 3 players, I can only see Mazraoui and De Ligt as the sure shot ones being there, because we're not linked to any other right backs. We're not being linked to any other centre backs, at least with the Ugarte situation, Sanderberg or Rabiot and Amrabat, things are actually popping up again. With centre backs or right backs, I'm hearing nothing.
I said I'd go sign Jonathan Tah, who Bayern are trying to sign.
Yeah.
I think he looked good in the Euros. I think he's been fantastic for Bayer Leverkusen. I'm surprised there isn't more teams in for him. So if it's 2025, that's what Bayer Leverkusen want. That's the first bid that we put in for De Ligt. Go get Jonathan Tah and then use the rest of the money on Ugarte. Because whatever way you look at it, right, you're going to have a stronger squad if you do that. Because if you can't get De Ligt over the line, we're not being linked to any other centre-backs. And maybe it is a type of personnel, and maybe it is because he knows Ten Hag's system and he's worked with him before. But that doesn't always work out. Antony's worked with Ten Hag before, and we've just spent 30 minutes speaking about how much of a shit player he's been for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
So I would do that. I just like, you know what, fuck you, Bayern. I'm going to go get your target that you want, that you're not willing to pay for 25 million, and then you're left in a shit, because then you then have a player who doesn't want to be there. He's on 260 grand a week, and you're going to have to utilise him in some shape or way. That's what I'd do. Put pressure on Bayern.
Yeah.
Makes sense, doesn't it? I thought Paul Scholes' comments were a little bit lazy. Did you see him on De Ligt?
No, not yet.
So he said he can't get in the team at Bayern. Eric Dyer plays over him, and he weren't great at Juventus, so I wouldn't sign him. That's what he said. And I was like, listening to that, I was like, Paul Scholes was, if you watched him play football, he was one of the most beautiful footballers ever. He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
From a technical, could dictate games. He was one of the best players we've ever had. But as a pundit, it leaves some things to be questioned, I think. And saying that about De Ligt, like, anyone who's done the research, Juventus and Bayern Munich know there is reasons why things have happened.
Kimmich is not able to get into the Bayern 11 right now, but he's far more skilled than any other player in their team.
Yeah, if that's basically you're trying to say Eric Dyer is a better defender than De Ligt, he's fucking not. He's definitely not. It was because Tuchel went in, someone he trusts, brings him in. There's an injury to De Ligt. First season, De Ligt was actually really good at Bayern. Juventus,
He's
he had
fantastic. He was
three or four
fantastic.
different coaches. He didn't get on with Bonucci or Chiellini necessarily. Like, there was a lot of reasons for why that happened, and I've spoken about that in depth before. So they're not the actual red flags that worries me. It's red flags that worry me, like the injuries, the big knee injuries. If they keep reoccurring, then, and the injuries we already have at the moment, that's something that concerns me. But I don't know. I like him, and I think he's probably the best option at the minute on the market. I don't see, like you said, Shreyas, I don't see any other options. So, yeah. United also go on to say they'd be open to strengthening their attack if Jadon Sancho leaves before the transfer window closes. Out of 10, Shreyas, how likely is Sancho to PSG in your mind? Would you be absolutely astonished if he left?
Yeah, I see a 1 out of 10. I don't see it happening at all. I think it's all paper talk. I think PSG have got. Why would they actually want to sign Sancho as a winger? They've already got enough wingers at their club. They've got Dembele, they've got Lee Kangin, they've also got Bradley Barcola, who's supposedly the next big thing in that winger department. Yeah, they've already got enough players in there, and I doubt they'll be willing to get Sancho in, give him 250 to 300 grand a week, and then just stick him on the bench. I just don't see it happening.
Have you seen the young players that they've signed PSG, by the way? Like, they're doing a very similar thing to what Madrid are doing as well, like young stars for the next 10 years. And if you look at
Golo
the squad,
Muani, Gonzalo Ramos, Barcola, Lee Kangin, Zaire Emery, and now Neves,
They've got loads, so they are planning for something under Luis Enrique, and they could be cooking eventually in the Champions League. Obviously, they've notoriously struggled. Right, go back to the comments then. What we saying? People going on about a pie. Sean saying, I call Barnes muffins, Nick. If I didn't like you, Sean, I'd put you in a timeout, but I like you, so we'll keep that. In New Zealand, Australia, and South Africa, it's called a pie. Sean saying chip muffin with Chinese curry. Oh my god, a muffin. A muffin is fucking. What do you call a muffin, Shreyas? It's like
muffin is like a muffin. Yeah, sweet.
Like chocolate chip muffin.
Like a muffin. Yeah, a chocolate chip muffin like this.
You can't put chips on that. Like, how can you call it a chip muffin? What's going on there? Bizarre. Chivy saying, I'm with Macmillan. The pastry is the genre under which pies exist, same way it is in Nigeria. Is a sausage roll under that umbrella? Sausage rolls, they're all pastries. People just going in. It's like a fucking bake-off now. The pastry debate needs a whole new stream. Right, after dark, like Sam says, yeah, we'll save that for that. Macmillan saying Nick loves a sausage roll. Thank you very much for that. I told the story the other day. I don't know if you was in the stream, Shreyas, that when I got banned off TikTok. Have I told you before? For eating a sausage roll.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah, you're very aware. So, yeah. But sausage rolls are goated. Yeah, I agree. Charlie Malman says...
We won't be mentioning it on YouTube. We don't want the same situation.
Oh, no, yeah.
Won't be mentioning it. Yeah.
No, don't want to be banned off YouTube. Actually, United are looking at Mario Hermoso as a new centre-back for us instead of De Ligt. He's out of contract. Yeah, I saw that report, but again, I'll wait until a credible journalist puts it out. I don't know if that's legit or not. McMillan saying, I have a feeling Sanderberg, with his high aerial strength, also looked at as a possible part-time centre-back option. Yes, I believe he's played there before. I didn't know that, actually. I thought he had only played a 6. Like, when I was doing my research on him, looking up, I hadn't seen that he'd played centre-back quite a few times. But, again, you don't want to shoehorn players in there just because they can play there. You want players in their proper position. Andy's saying De Ligt is just a perfect player for us. I'll be gutted if they don't get him. Abdullah says, Justin, United set to launch fresh Branthwaite transfer bid. I call bullshit. I'll double check. But I highly doubt that.
Not happening this window.
No. I'm just double checking just to see. Nope, can't see anything on it whatsoever. So, utter nonsense. Thanks for that, whoever that was, Abdullah. First, a DIY show, now a bake-off. What's happening, boys? Jay, we're versatile, mate. We're versatile. We can go anywhere. Any topics you want us to cover, we've got good in-depth knowledge. But one thing I will tell you for an absolute fact, I will never, ever call a chip balm a chip fucking muffin in my life. That is never happening. Muffin is a North Manchester thing as far as I know. Fuck that. No. not going down that route. We'll save it for the after dark.
Okay.
And also, whilst we're on the conversations of like members videos and stuff,
Hmm.
there will be one dropping over the weekend, and it's basically a big preview for how United are going to set up tactically this season. What the new signings, Euro and Xerxes, how they're going to make a difference. What positions will they play? More in terms of Xerxes, how will they work with Højlund and other kind of bits, and also the team in general. What surprises will there be? Just a full kind of season. This is how United are going to play, and etc. So for the members, that'll be dropping on Saturday or Sunday potentially. So keep an eye out for that. If you want to become a member, click the join button next to the notification bell, or there should be a link in the description for you guys somewhere in there. We have 40 members strong at the minute, I think. With the members, so obviously some of them have been gifted as well. So big up everyone in the chat who is a member. Like I said, if you want to become a member of the Real Red Ultra community, then just click the join button. It's like £3 a month or something. Shreyas, any plans for the weekend, mate?
Yes, I'll be gone on my trip
Oh
over the
yeah.
weekend. I fly out
So
tonight. So
will you be missing City?
uh, I don't. My landing time is in the morning. No, I'll be able to catch the game. I'll be able to catch the game.
Oh, awesome. At least that's
Yeah,
something then,
because I
mate.
land in the morning. I think with 2 or 3 hours before kickoff, I'll land, so I'll be able to catch the game.
Yeah, that's good. And you'll be able to watch it in a nice sunny resort, I imagine.
Yeah, on the cruise, I think I'll be able to see it by the time the
Or
game
is the
actually kicks off.
connection
I'll be
not
on
going
the
to be a
cruise
bit
itself.
choppy on there, do you think?
It will be choppy, but I'll have to make it work, or otherwise I'll just go back to my childhood
Yeah.
days and just keep on scrolling Twitter every single minute.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is,
that's
has
good.
something happened? Has something happened?
Yeah.
The worst case would be like sometimes on Twitter when you actually refresh, they just sent an update. This player has gone down. The
Mm.
moment I see it with United that this player has gone down, I go, oh again now down. This
Yeah.
guy is injured as
Yeah.
well. This guy is
Yeah.
injured.
They're the only
But yeah, hopefully,
notifications you're going to get, mate.
yeah. So yeah, I'll be able to catch the game. I don't expect a lot, but hopefully some positive aspects can come out of that game. And by the time Fulham rolls in, at least we get a CDM or centre back in.
And if it is shit and we get absolutely slapped and beat up City, at least you're on holiday, so you can go relax.
Yeah,
You can go, you
yeah,
ain't got to worry about work or anything like that. You can just, just fucking away with the
yeah.
stars,
Because I mean,
basically.
it's a community shield at the end of the day, so I don't mind it that much. If it would have been the first game of the season where we play City and then we lost, then it would have been just panic and anxiety till the next game.
I agree, but because it's City, I want to beat them. And I said this to Sam, I
Yeah.
want to use it as a springboard of momentum into the Premier League, because I think if it's already a
Yeah.
little bit negative at the minute anyway, in it with injuries and stuff, and I think you lose to your rivals at the start of the season, even though it is a community shield, you kind of like, oh, it's a bit cobwebby, you know what I mean, going into the first game against Fulham. Like, I want to be full of beans and positivity, and the team are playing well, and we've defended well, and now we've got Fulham start of the season. Because if you know yourself, you lose a couple of games like we did last season in the first month, you set yourself back then, don't you? And then you're clawing for points constantly. And I don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, it's the same thing every single year. We say that, look, your top 6 games are always going to be difficult, and you never know which way that they might actually go. I mean, we had a very very impeccable record against Liverpool last year, considering the team we had and the players we had. So you never know which direction those games go. But
Yeah.
your games against teams like Crystal Palace, your Bournemouths, and these sort of games, that's the game where you need to maximize your points. If you're able to maximize your points against these teams, you make a good chance for yourself to make it into the top 4. But when we start dropping points against these sort of teams, like I don't think we beat Palace last year. Both the games we lost. Bournemouth as well. Both the games we didn't have a good showing. Nottingham Forest we dropped points. Fulham we dropped points. There are loads of games against these sort of teams where we drop
Yeah.
massive points. So once you start recovering points against these teams, that's when your position becomes a lot more stronger.
Yeah, agreed. Sean just says Shreyas will be jumping overboard if City slap us. Hopefully not. Hopefully it don't get that depressing and we
I don't mind City that much. The
yeah.
club I mind the most is Liverpool.
Yeah.
If it would have been
It's,
Liverpool, that's when I would have jumped
I
overboard.
think it's a Mancunian thing as well. Like, I can't stand City, man. I really, really can't stand them. But yeah, look, not too long now. It's quite literally nearly 24 hours until we play, or at least the build-up will be on for the game. So I'm excited that football's back. I keep saying it. I'm so happy Premier League returns in a week's time, man. Like, I cannot wait. I mean,
Yeah.
it's even Championship football on this weekend that I'm going to be watching, just because I've missed pure competitive league football. Like, I genuinely
When
have.
is the Super Cup game?
When is the what? Super Cup?
The
I don't
UEFA
know.
Super Cup. I think it's Atlanta versus Madrid.
No, I'm not sure. But that's a good point. Now maybe
Must
that's
be
on
soon.
soon as well. Yeah.
Yeah. It has.
But
It usually happens before the season starts for any league, so must be soon.
if it is on, then even better. I'll watch that as well. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Maybe my optimism would be killed within the first few weeks with United, but I'm super excited. I'm super excited. Hopefully, we get a few more players in and we can start the season off well. But like I mentioned to you guys, don't forget there won't be a watch along for the Community Shield tomorrow. But when the Premier League kicks off from then on, there'll be a watch along for the majority of games, unless I've gone to a game or something's come up. I'll be doing watch alongs for the foreseeable. So if you guys are fans of that, if you guys are a fan of watch alongs, then yeah, come and join me. I'll be live on TikTok and YouTube for the foreseeable. So apart from that, we'll be back at 7 o'clock. I think Chivy's on the show with us. Maybe potentially Sam. I'm not entirely sure. So come and join us for the usual time. And then we'll be live for the pre-match. Fucking hell, what do we call it? Pre-match. What was build-up? Pre-match build-up. God, I've not done it in that long. I forgot what it's called. That's what I mean. It's been so long.
Okay,
Man.
so we used to have build-ups and review, and before the game we used to have previews.
Yeah. So tomorrow there will be a pre-match build-up and there'll be a review because there's not a watch-along. Yeah. But then from then on there'll be watch-alongs and then anyway, I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Shreyas, for joining me. Enjoy your holiday, mate. I'm sure we'll be speaking in the chat. Anything you want? Any of these wonderful fans in the chat a message for tomorrow's game before we go?
Yeah, number 21 on the download.
Okay, all right. Going for it. Right, and Antony to get the golden boot as well. There's our
Ballon d'Or.
Ballon d'Or, golden boot, United to win the league. Top stuff.
Yeah.
Right.